And here we are today with the second of these videos, and today I'm going to be talking about polemology. Nice, polemology is the study of war and comes from the word polemos, which means war in ancient Greek. And it's the multidisciplinary study of war. That's after polemos is placed with logi. And it's the study of human conflicts and war, particularly in international war. It's like a noun. So yeah. Polemology is distinct from military history, which is military history being going over what the history of the military have done and all that. So and it goes into different fields like laws of the war, philosophy, ethics, the just war theory, the deterrence theory, the psychology behind war, behind and of war. Encompass things like post-traumatic stress disorder, psychological operations, military history, the motivations, conducts, and the effects of the war, the economics behind the war, sociology of the war, sociology of the military, international relations, international relations theory, and political science. As war's not just something that's on the battlefield. It's you have to kind of look into why wars happen, and and you have to look into kind of who's pulling the cards, the individuals fighting the war, and there's so many things behind why wars happen, and so yeah. There's something like polemology is and war studies is mainly aimed at military students and regular and reserve forces, non-commissioned members, and occasionally civilian students. And it's really and if you do study war studies and all that, you kind of looking into militaries and all that, diplomacy, philosophy, social and political and psychological and economic dimensions of human conflicts, World War II, for example, as a as I know that the Germans might have been on crack and all that, where they took drugs as a part of the Blitzkrieg, which is what kept them going for so long. And it's and in the modern context of warfare, it can consider issues like defense policy, strategy, logistics of, and operations and all that. It's how wars today are fought, kind of thing. As wars we fight today is different from wars the wars we fought 100 years ago. As I know that 100 years ago tanks were coming into swing of things, and now today it's they're everywhere, and take make a big part of what helps people win war. Some of the biggest superpowers win wars and all that. So yeah. I hope I've given you a bit of an insight into polemology and given you something to think about wars and all that, and polemology. So like some of you could be future polemologists, if it's even a thing. So yeah, like as some of you could go into why people go into wars, like people could go into wars for like, kind of like a war on terror, like the main war on terror is like against terrorist groups in like the Middle East, like the Taliban, Al Qaeda, and Islamic State. As I know that they want to create a kind of like a caliphate and kind of like get all the world on like their doctrines and all. And we're fighting against them to keep our doctrines and to kind of like promote equality and all that. While the doctrine of like groups like ISIS and Taliban is to promote kind of like their doctrines of Islam and all that. And this is like just one small war, one small part of the history of the war. So yeah, it's like, it's not pleasant, but it's like the most recent and all. So yeah. Anyway, so I kind of know that World War II was for like the elimination of the Nazis' term of non-Aryan, to eliminate non-Aryan races. But like, I love those non-Aryan races just as much as I love those Aryan races. So yeah, I'll leave the video there before my parents are wondering what I'm actually talking about. So yeah, I'll leave it there for now. So and I'll see you soon.